Welcome to Talking Politics. I am Paul Gable. I'm here with my good friend and co-host John Bond Sr. And today we have Myrtle Beach City Council candidate Ed Carey joining us. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, Ed. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Paul.
And this is kind of like round two, I guess. You ran for mayor 2 years ago, and you had really, for a first-time candidate, brand new, and not that well known in the city, you did very well. And,
Thank you.
And what prompted you to get back in this time?
We haven't started the path down in the right direction in the city yet. Let me just say that. We've got a long ways to go, and over the last 2 years, I just see a lot of the same stuff over and over again and not being corrected.
Stuff you talked about in your mayoral campaign,
Yeah.
especially. Well, you know, one of the things, of course, you wanted to do, and I supported heavily, was getting rid of the Downtown Redevelopment Corporation. Now, it seems like we've gotten rid of the Downtown Redevelopment Corporation, but we haven't, because all we've done is absorbed it into city staff, and we're going to keep the same nonsense going on.
Well, from what I'm hearing, there's going to be another committee or organization to take their place.
Well, I've heard that
a special
too,
tax district.
But I wonder how that's going to do with bringing in what's in the 3 employees of Downtown Redevelopment Corporation directly under city staff. I mean, the whole thing sounds
well,
screwy.
from my understanding, they're on the city payroll already.
Well, they are.
Under a contract. So, I mean, I don't think they're going to change. You know,
But that's my point. We're dissolving an organization.
Yeah.
We're supposedly building a new one, but the same individuals will be there.
Look, government should have, I believe, in a planning department and that takes care of zoning and land issues and things like that. This city has 3 departments. It's got our planning department with the planning commission. It has the DRC that handles the downtown district, which is a private corporation owned by the city, with its own board. Nobody elects anybody to it.
And using public funds?
Using public funds from parking. And the third is the thing called the Community Appearance Board, which every commercial property, every oceanfront property, every multifamily property has to go get their blessing before they do anything, including, you know, repainting their front door practically.
Well, that's been Larry Bragg's baby since the beginning, yeah.
You know, I do believe there's some kind of architectural controls, and a lot of HOAs have that, but you need to economize that and put basic requirements out there so people can go and get their permits, and, you know, it's an administrative, okay, are they following the rules right here? And they check mark it and they give them a permit. Not have to go through in front of this whole board, which is you know, Larry, you're probably going to see this, and I know he doesn't like my comments on it, but that architectural control should be part of the planning department. It shouldn't be independent of it, okay? And that's a board completely.
You don't have patronage then. You get rid of that, there's no patronage.
Well,
they want patronage.
Well,
they've
got too much of that, okay?
Well, they don't think they have enough. But
well,
you campaign. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you. I was told by Mr. Bragg back when Brenda won was that, Ed, you weren't here 30 years ago when nothing was getting done and everything looked like heck on Kings Highway.
And we needed something.
And I'm like, what has happened? Go down up and down Kings Highway.
But there was nobody,
where's that?
We got
what do we approve? We got, you know, it's easy to approve a monkey on the side of a building, but you can't get your front door painted. I mean, there's got to be simple, organized, predetermined requirements that people can take care of things. And I'm not saying do away with the complete architectural control, but it's gone, it's out of control.
Are you happy the way they're developing your neighborhood market common?
He better be happy. He
Are
was
you happy or not? Are you happy?
Well, let's set the record straight. I was not the developer. I was not the designer. I just happened to be an employee there, and I live there. Okay.
Well,
am I happy? Everything that's happened over the last 11 years down there? No, I'm not.
What are you not happy about?
I'm not happy about them allowing people to build houses with 20 by 20 garages and no driveways, and is putting cars out on the street, and there's not enough parking. Okay. I mean, you see that when there's events down there. I'm not happy about, we've got intersections that it's simply to make them safer by putting 3 or 4 way stop signs, and the city's fighting that. No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy that one guy in the city determines the zoning down there and puts a high density on a corner because it's allowed leftover density from 1,000 acres and they stuff it into 12 acres.
What would you do? What would you do to change it?
Well, first of all, we would do a traffic study up front, not after the fact.
Okay.
Safe intersections? What's it cost for a stop sign? I'm tired of hearing stuff, well, we got to wait for this study or that study, or we're going to wait for Ori Georgetown Tech to put their telephone lines underground. Put a darn stop sign in. It's not that hard to make it safe.
And why aren't they doing it?
You ask them.
I don't know, I'm asking you.
I don't know.
Well, you're running for office, not me. You should ask them, not me.
Well, when I get in office, I will.
Okay, what about the financing of that project? You still happy with that?
No.
The way they financed it? What was some of the pitfalls that you found in financing?
Well, let me say this, and I've said it before. I like the concept of tax instrumental financing. When I got involved down there, I knew there was $40 million in bonds sold to pay for all the public structures, the streets, the parking garages and things. And those bonds would be paid back by the increased tax values there. So if a property was worth $1,000 before and now it's worth $250,000, the real estate tax on $249,000 goes into the TIF fund to pay off the bonds. And as I discovered 3 years ago, they use the money for other things, which is allowed by law. And that's the way it's set up. Capital improvements down there at Market Common. Okay.
So they use the funds for capital improvement.
Just at Market Common. Okay.
Well,
but
isn't that good?
Yes, it's good. On one hand, it's good. But let me ask you this: should all the taxes in Market Common, the county and the school taxes, be refused to given to the school and the county? You know that none of those real estate taxes go to the schools and the county?
No, I didn't know that.
There's a big lawsuit between the schools, the county, and the city out there about that.
Well, why aren't they giving
because the way the law was set up, that the money had to stay there.
Who set up the law?
The state legislator, okay? Nobody's breaking the law. No, let me get it straight. Nobody's breaking the law. The law needs to change, okay? That's only one example in this city. We also have Grand Coastal Mall. I understand the taxes there stay for infrastructure around there. I understand the TIF.
Let me hold you for a second. We got to take a break.
No problem.
Back.
All right.
Back in a moment.
Hey man, I'm on my way to the finest place for everyone to play, where the drinks are cool if the sun is hot, and the Myrtle's Inlet's Marsh Walk.
Enjoy spectacular waterfront dining and live music with breathtaking saltwater marsh views at the Myrtle's Inlet Marsh Walk. Marsh Walk, where the view, the music, and the fun are always free. Marsh Walk, Highway 17 Business, Waterfront, Myrtle's Inlet.
P. Reynolds by the Ocean is a restaurant and live performance space with an open jazz jam every Thursday at 6 p.m. Are you looking for something special, something new, something different on the Grand Strand? Great food, cool jazz. You'll find it only at P. Reynolds Jazz Supper Club, located at 1212 North Kings Highway in Myrtle Beach. P. Reynolds by the Ocean, something special in Myrtle Beach.
I'm a server at Brothers Grill, and as a server here, I like to make sure everybody has amazing service and good fresh food every single day. We serve lunch and dinner from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., our happy hours from 4 to 7, and we're located on 5900 North Kings Highway. Follow us on Facebook at Brothers Grill Myrtle Beach.
Back. We have Ed Carey, who's a candidate for Myrtle Beach City Council in next month's election, and we were talking about tips, tax increment finance. Look, I'm going to tell you, it might be a good idea. To me, it's nothing but government socialism to a certain section, period.
You could draw it that way. I think the big problem with it is there's no end game, okay? When they sold bonds to do that infrastructure, and whereas there was no real estate tax coming into the city down there at the time.
That's my point.
So we've increased the tax base, but we've left it there. We haven't spread it out to the rest of the city. My taxes on my properties down there, for the majority of it, okay, the incremental financing, which is if my townhouse lot was worth $1,000 before they built a townhouse, and now it's worth $250. The tax on the $1,000 goes out to the city, the county, and the schools.
Right.
But not the tax on the $249,000.
That's right.
So for the most part, most of those properties down in Market Common are not paying taxes to support our police and our fire department, administration of the city, or any infrastructure around the city.
Water, sewer, road,
None.
the whole routine.
No.
Exactly, and that's always been a point of mine. And these developers love TIFs and fees in lieu of tax, and that's baloney.
You know, the current revenue of the TIF is somewhere in the $12–13 million range. I understand. That's okay.
I really don't know.
The debt service is only about $3.5.
Where is the revenue going?
To a TIF fund. It's into a special.
But it has to go someplace. It has to benefit something.
Oh.
That's what taxes are for.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, John.
We have fire. We have emergency
it doesn't benefit
service.
that. You cannot pay for labor down in Market Common out of that TIF. It's for capital improvements and to pay the debt service. Capital improvements.
Yeah.
Not maintenance, not ongoing police.
Is there any way of changing it?
We got to go to the state legislature and change it. Okay. And you realize, and then we've got also the redevelopment authority, which I think has outlived its life down there. And the only reason it's still in order is because the law allows them to collect a fund sum of payroll taxes from state and federal employees that are still employed on the base. Something in there like that, and it's $800,000 a year. You go back 6 or 7 years when Buddy Steyer said, hey, we're done, we sold the last piece of property for the Air Force, and then somebody reminded him and said, no, we got this little fund here, and it's not going away because you go down to Charleston, the naval base down there, I heard it's like $3 or $4 million a year.
Oh, I'm sure it is, because that was big.
Yeah, so, you know, this is the problem we have. We got plenty of funds in this town, in the city and county to take care of our problems of infrastructure and law enforcement, but they're all stuck in this bucket of money that you can't get to until the state legislature changes it. And somebody needs to be a voice, and the city needs to be unified and go after it.
Why haven't they been doing it all along? Why, they see it's there. They see there's a pot of money there.
I'm going to find out when I'm elected.
It's a sop to the developers, John. It always has been. B and C use
but they're fighting over
they're
fighting over the hospitality funds, and here they have a pot of money, and they're just ignoring it. They should have gone to the state legislature like they're doing now.
We've got hospitality funds, we've got accommodation taxes, we've got TDF taxes, we've got TIF taxes.
Admission taxes.
Admissions taxes. And you look at the finances of the Chamber of Commerce, and they've got some $50 million in revenues, and most of that's from public funds, okay? Now go look at the city capital improvement budget for the next 4 years, and it totals only about $79 million, okay?
Oh, wow.
You know in the next 4 years how much money the Chamber of Commerce is going to get from public funds around there?
About $200 million.
Well, maybe not that much, but over $100 million.
Well, if you want to just talk TDF, if you're just talking to TDF, I agree with you. But when you got to throw in, they get from the county, they get from the state.
Right.
The amount of money that goes into the chamber is obscene.
And do you know that in fiscal year 21 through 23, they have
But is it bringing in tourism?
$31 million for a new municipal complex?
Is it bringing in tourism?
No.
No.
It's not bringing in
I challenge it. It does not.
Wow.
The chamber itself has said.
Okay,
there was a quote from the chamber that they said they target a good amount of their money, at least a third of their money, for first-time visitors. And if we've got 18 million people coming here every year, in less than 3 years, we'll double that if they're coming back. They're not coming back, John. Why?
I don't know. I don't.
Well, is our money being spent?
I'm not involved in that. I don't know the statistics. Do you have the statistics? They're not coming back?
Well, you tell me. You do the math.
You're the one that said it. I didn't say it.
You know math. 18 million people. Let's assume we got 18 million.
How do you know they're not coming back?
Well, we're spending a third of our money to get first-time visitors. That would be 6 million people every year. If you have 6 million new people every year and they all keep coming back, the numbers will double in 3 years.
Well, look at the houses
it's
going
simple
up.
math.
But people are coming here as the first time, as tourists.
You know what
now they're buying a house here.
You know what the biggest growth here is? Retirement, real estate. People are still going to come to the beach to have vacations and come down here.
So that's great, isn't it? That helps, isn't it?
But yeah, but where's all that money going? Why?
Well, you tell us where it's going. I don't know.
It should go into infrastructure. It should go to law enforcement.
We shouldn't be collecting TDF.
You're just throwing it out. Tell us where it's going.
That's just baloney.
Yeah.
If you're going to do advertising for private businesses, and the last time I checked, the hotels were, the golf courses were. If you're going to do advertising for private businesses, it should be paid for by the private.
Let me ask you something. Both of you gentlemen do not live in the city limits. Is that correct?
No, that's not.
You live? Okay. Thank you for paying my real estate tax.
Exactly. But I will say this to you, okay? Especially since the TDF was passed, I shop by as little as possible to almost nothing in Myrtle Beach because I'm not going to contribute to that.
Look, you know, just on a macro basis, the impact to public safety and infrastructure in the city of Myrtle Beach, the majority of that impact is not from the residents, it is from tourists. So shouldn't the majority of the tax money that's coming from tourists be rerouted into the biggest impact areas, infrastructure and law enforcement?
I would think
Does that
so.
make sense?
Yeah.
Well, it does. It's just that, you know, Brad Dean pulled a move, and you got to give him credit for the brilliance of it. He got the state legislature to pass this particular thing, which enriched the chamber and, you know, and some subcontractors.
Well, the state legislature is trying to help. They were helping. Brad Dean told them there was a need here, and the legislature always wants to help local government. That's what they do. But however,
they got their PAC money.
They didn't study. The legislation is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. That's what you're saying.
John, if the legislature wanted to help, they would have never passed House Bill 388. So it's just that simple.
I don't know what that is. What is House 388?
That's the one.
People out there don't know either.
That's the one that limited how much of an increase you could have on property taxes in any 1 year on local governments. In other words, the state legislature said, look, we'll tax you however we want to tax you, and we keep raising our taxes. But we don't trust you to do it, so we're going to sound good at the state level and say we're holding your taxes down when it doesn't affect them at all.
What's fair about two identical houses? One's a primary resident, one's a secondary home that has a city worker in it, rent it, and the primary resident pays, in the city, Myrtle Beach, net about 13% of what the secondary home does in real estate taxes. And this one has an employee of the city paying it, and it's built into the rent he pays.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
well, there should be a liaison between the city and the state legislature.
Well, but on that note, we got to take a break. We got to take a break, guys.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a server at Brothers Grill, and as a server here, I like to make sure everybody has amazing service and good fresh food every single day. We serve lunch and dinner from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., our happy hours from 4 to 7, and we're located on 5900 North Kings Highway. Follow us on Facebook at Brothers Grill Myrtle Beach.
P. Reynolds by the Ocean is a restaurant and live performance space with an open jazz jam every Thursday at 6 p.m. Are you looking for something special, something new, something different on the Grand Strand? Great food, cool jazz. You'll find it only at P. Reynolds Jazz Supper Club, located at 1212 North Kings Highway in Myrtle Beach. P. Reynolds by the Ocean, something special in Myrtle Beach.
My name is Angelo Antonucci, and I'd like to welcome you to my restaurant. I've been in Myrtle Beach now for over 30 years, and we are the home of the greatest steaks in the universe.
Here at Angelo's, we have a fantastic Italian buffet with your favorite pastas served with meatballs and sausage and delicious gourmet pizzas. But where we really shine is our entrees like our Scampi Traditional, Alfredo or Lemon Romano served over linguine, our French pork chops with garlic mashed potatoes, and our twin fillets featuring our signature Marsala sauce. It's a great place to enjoy with family and friends, so stop by and see us at our new location at the corner of 24th Avenue South and South Kings Highway.
Don't just take my word for it. Come in and try Angelo's, home of the greatest steaks in the universe.
Here at Angelo's. Hey man, I'm on my way to the finest place for everyone to play, where the drinks are cool if the sun is hot at the Myrtle's Inlet's Marsh Walk.
Enjoy spectacular waterfront dining and live music with breathtaking saltwater marsh views at the Myrtle's Inlet Marsh Walk. Marsh Walk, where the view, the music, and the fun are always free. Marsh Walk, Highway 17 Business, Waterfront, Myrtle's Inlet.
Well, welcome back. We are at PJ Reynolds Jazz Club at 1212 North Kings Highway. They're hosting us today because our studio has air conditioning problems and we didn't want to roast to death while we were taking the show. So we got Ed Carey, Myrtle Beach City Council candidate, and I'm going to throw it back to you two guys because you were having a ball.
We interrupted you just at the break. You want to finish your thought on that? We're talking about the state legislation, the liaison and what have you, and that they should be considering legislation to open up the reservoir and let some of the funds go out where they are not really serving anybody or anything.
The rules of how to spend funds are controlled by pretty much the state legislature.
But there's nothing we can do about it.
Yes, there is.
So
we can lobby them, and we can replace them.
Well, that's why I'm saying, don't you think we should have a liaison between the city and the state
There
legislature?
is. The city has a lobbyist.
Well, they do have a lobbyist?
Yeah, absolutely, they got a lobbyist, the state legislature.
And they're paying money?
Yeah.
County does too, John.
No wonder I know they're
So's the Solid Waste Authority.
Yeah.
How much are they paying the
So's the
lobbyist?
chamber. So's the school district.
I don't know what the fee is. Yeah.
I'm not. I know you need lobbyists, but however, if the city needs a lobbyist and they're not doing the job, it's terrible. I know that as a senior citizen that's over 85, people are over 85, they're supposed to get some break on the sales tax. Nothing happens there, and it's just, what do you want to say?
Let's put this like the TDF into reality here, okay? Nobody wants to lose their real estate tax benefit of that. I don't want to lose mine, but the truth of the matter is, it's only about, I think, $3 to $3.5 million collectively across the whole city that goes out to rebate real estate taxes of primary residents to the voters, okay?
Right.
All right, that's out of like $27 million. What's the effectiveness of the other chunk of change? Why don't they just pay all our real estate tax? I mean, why are we not looking at the other side of the coin here? I think that a lot of that money should be going strictly into infrastructure, into law and public safety, okay? Primary functions of the government that are being impacted by the number of people coming here, okay? We don't need to be paying that amount of money for private advertising.
We don't.
Okay.
We're paying that money so that the businesses.
So for all you looking at this thing, we
didn't have to.
We pay upwards of the city portion, probably upwards of about $30+ million a year to the chamber to pay for private advertising. The city owns a hotel that competes with private advertising.
A hotel.
The city owns 135 acres on the ocean. It's renting out its trailer park, okay? I mean, we have probably $150 million in infrastructure upgrades we need to do. It's not even on the schedule the next 4 years, okay? But we're on the schedule over the next 10 years. If you go 10 years out,
but what are they doing
over $500 million to the Chamber of Commerce? Come on.
What are they doing with the money from the property they own?
What?
For the enterprises in which the city owns, what are they doing with the money?
I don't know. It goes in the general fund. I think the hotel pays the bonds off.
The hotel pays the bonds off. The campgrounds.
I'm talking about the city that owns the properties, and they're collecting revenue.
Yes, John, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you. Right. The campgrounds, there is that was given to the city, but the land, when it was given, was designated as having to support aviation. So they get about the county gets about $2 million a year for the airport, specifically for the airport. It's actually being used for a portion of the bonds.
Out of that revenue stream.
Yes, out of the revenue stream. And the city gets the remainder, which would be what, about 500, 600,000 or something like that. And I would assume that probably goes into the general fund. But $2 million of the rental portion from the campgrounds goes to the county to help pay off the bonds for the airport terminal that they built.
Can you give us 3 issues or 3 priorities that you would like to see happen and what your campaign is campaigning on? What are the 3 major issues that you find important that you want to see changed here in the city if you were elected?
Well, city, county, nationwide, term limits. Okay.
Term limits 1. Number 1, term limits. Number 2.
Okay. There's more than 3. Okay.
Well, just give us 3.
Okay.
Just whet our appetite.
No. Let's back up. number one.
You told us what one is.
I'm going to back that down to number 3, okay?
Okay, that's good. You should.
Number one
is
the money that's collected in this city should be paying for the primary function of government, which is infrastructure, public safety, and property rights, and not private advertising. That's number one, okay?
Number 2?
Number 2, we need to, when we start talking about redeveloping the city, we cannot leave anybody out of the discussion, and that includes adjacent property owners. We've got some great ideas floating around out there right now about downtown redevelopment, and a lot of them I like. The thing I don't like is that they're not bringing the elephant to the table, and I think the elephant's talking in the back room, okay? And that's the pavilion site. What's going on with the pavilion site? They need to come out and start talking about that. There's discussion on the street about closing Ocean Boulevard down. Anybody heard about that?
Well, a section of it for Margaritaville, yes.
Yeah, 8th to 9th Avenue.
Well, not actually rerouting it back behind the hotel and back down again.
Okay. I mean, let's get that out in the discussion. Why isn't that part of the discussion?
We don't have much time. You got to give us a 3.
And how about
he gave us 2.
The traditional area of the city. You talked about the old original area, the south, what I call the south end of Myrtle Beach when I came here. All those businesses where it's now empty.
Well,
You're talking about bringing them in too, right?
What's the third? What's bombastic? Number 3. Here it comes. It's going to blow up the set
No, it's not, John. It's hard to limit to 3. You know, I mean,
how about single-member districts? Just to throw
that's up there high on my list. Election and voting. Okay, single-member districts. Okay. The other thing is move the elections. Hold on. Move the elections to a primary year. How many people in the city know there's an election in a month?
Which is it's designed as an incumbent keeping system.
The other thing is
what about Mashin, the guy that Mashin, the developer that's coming in from Columbia?
He's not a developer. He's a general contractor.
Well, whatever he is, he's coming in, isn't he?
He's opening an office. He bought a building cheap on a direct deal with the city.
Who subsidized him?
No, I don't know. But
well, check it out.
Well, John, wait a minute. Don't be telling. That's not my job to find out who subsidized it. But I think the more important question is why did the city sell? Hold on. Why did the city sell to him and not put it out on the public market?
That's what I'm asking you. Why did you?
I'm telling you, they didn't.
All right, so
now they are.
Is that an issue or not?
Sure, that's called transparency, John.
Well, what number is that? 6? You have that on? You have that on at all?
Zoom in, buddy.
Zoom in.
Well, it's safe to say
there's more than 3 issues.
We're getting down to it. There is. There's more than 3 issues. There's been more than 3 issues for a long time.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why the city looks like it does now. It's one of the reasons that you have those 2 great big holes that used to be Myrtle Square Mall and the Pavilion have been sitting empty for over 10 years with nothing happening. The leadership in the city has been poor.
There's leaderships, boards, and commissions in the city that are protecting those properties.
That's right.
How about the water? Sewers. There's water and sewer. How about that? Are you changing it about that? Anything?
Yeah, it's called infrastructure, John.
Okay,
how many times have I said infrastructure?
What would you like to see done there? What would you like to see done? Anything you want to see done?
Better stormwater management. Okay, pumping it out in the middle of the ocean. Well, a mile out isn't going to do it.
Isn't that good?
No,
that's a positive.
No,
that is a positive. So I mean, that's
what is a positive.
What's a positive? What's a positive about that? How do you know? Are you an engineer?
I studied engineering. You don't know.
Oh, we have a new engineer.
So look, an engineer.
John, let me back up a minute.
I'm a practical person. You don't need an engineer to be practical.
Let me tell you.
I'm just asking a simple question, and you're saying if I'm an engineer.
The problem with you, John, you talk, you don't listen enough. Okay. Go down to Walker Common. Go to all where these new homes are. Look at the silt fence. They're not being maintained. You go down, I'll walk you over the bridge by Savannah's Playground. There's a damn sandbar in the middle of the lake. You know where that's coming from? The townhouses in Market Common. Because the city does not enforce the sedimentation controls. And that's part of stormwater management.
And on that note, we are at the end.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I'm glad he limited me to 3.
He finally getting started, and then the program ends.
We want to thank Ed for coming, and we'll be back next week.
Anything you want to say? Nice.
November 5th is Election Day. If you want to see discussions on different approaches to running your city and moving it forward, elect Ed Carey to City Council, because I will communicate my feelings to them and try to negotiate a better future for the city of Myrtle Beach. Thank you.